Hello traders, Rich here, and here's a quick but detailed update on Bitcoin. As usual, if you guys like video analysis, let me know in the comments or simply leave a like. So let's get started. As per my last video analysis, Bitcoin is still stuck inside this range between the 30 and 40k, and as price was approaching the 30k, we were looking for buy setups. So now price traded higher. However, we are still stuck inside this range, and it's now sitting around the upper bound, which is obviously acting as a resistance area, many rejections from it. So for now, we're expecting a rejection from here unless we have an aggressive bullish momentum candle above the 40k, and of course from daily time frame. Then and only then we can say that the buyers are taking over. In this case, we can look for buy setups on the retest. But for now, until this happens, the price can still reject this 40k. But how do we know if the sellers will take over or the buyers will take over? Then we can zoom into M30 time frame. If we zoom in, we can see that we are overall bullish from a short-term perspective, obviously since price rejected 30k and traded higher. However, the seller seems to be taking over by breaking below this range, but they are not in full control yet. Why? Because we have this trend line, and for the sellers to take over, they have to break below everything that might hold its weight back, right? So now, even though we have a break below this range, the price can still reject this area and trade higher, break above the 40k. In this case, we'll be looking for buy on the retest, right? But if the sellers manage to break below this trend line and below this swing, which is around the 37,500, then we can say that now we are overall bearish and a movement till our 30k again would be expected. And show you the view from H4 time frame. If you zoom in from a short-term perspective, of course, we can see that we were overall bearish. The price was making lower highs and lower lows, and even inside this minor swing, we can also see that the price was making low lows and lower highs. So we were overall bearish from a short-term perspective and from a medium-term perspective, right? But then the price broke above this previous high, and as you can see, the buyers took over, and now we can see an impulse flat correction, very big impulse. Now we had even a bigger correction, which means that the sellers might be taking over, and we had a higher high. So now this is our major low. For the sellers to take over, we need to see a break below it, or even you can consider that this is also a major swing low. So this is why I told you we need a break below the 37,500 to consider that the sellers are taking over, which is also, if you zoom into M30 time frame, this is it, right? So this is the 37,500 around this area. So let me highlight it like this, for example. And for the sellers to take over again and again, we need to see a break below it. So what are the possible scenarios? First one is price trades higher from here for the bulls to take over and break above the 40k. Then we'll be looking for buy on the retest. Or if the price forms a new high now and breaks this swing and the 37,500 downward, we can say that now the sellers are taking over, and we would expect a bearish move. In this case, as price approaches the 30k, we'll be looking for new buy setups. Before we continue, I want to tell you about Bitget. Bitget has over 1.5 million users worldwide. It's listed on CMC, CoinGecko, and CryptoAdventure. It's also licensed in 4 different countries, like the US, Canada, Singapore, and Australia. With Bitget, you can trade crypto on margin through the unified contract features, or you can simply buy and hold through the exchange, or also known as spot trading. And the interesting thing about Bitget is that it's one of the largest crypto copy trading platforms, where you can simply go here, copy trade, and follow the trader that you like. For example, you like this one, you click on follow. This way, you copy every single trade that he takes. If you don't have an account yet, I'll include the links in the description below. And let's continue. Here's a quick but detailed update on Ethereum. As we clearly see, we were overall bearish from a short-term and long-term perspective on Ethereum. However, price formed a double bottom pattern, which means that the sellers failed to make a lower low and instead made an equal low around the 1700. So now what? If we zoom in, we can see that, as mentioned previously, we were overall bearish, lower highs and lower lows. Now, for the buyers to take over, the double bottom is just an idea or an early alert. For the buyers to take over, they have to break above the previous high, which is also the neckline of the double bottom, and the 2.5 round number and resistance area. So we need a momentum candle close, an aggressive bullish momentum candle close from the daily time frame, of course, to know that now this double bottom is activated and the buyers are taking over. This way we can expect a potential reversal from a long-term perspective from bearish to bullish. For now, the 2.5 is acting as a resistance area. As you can see, we had previously many rejections from it. So we can expect a retest from this area till around our next support, which is the 2K zone. But how do we know if the price would break above the 2.5 for the bulls to take over, or the sellers will kick in now and then we might have a bearish movement? In this case, we always zoom into lower time frames. For example, on M30, we can see that we are clearly overall bullish, and what we care about the most here are the lows. So the price is making higher lows, right? So for now, we are still overall bullish from a short-term perspective, as you can see from M30 time frame. For the sellers to take over and the price to reject the 2.5k as mentioned before, because it's a resistance, then we need the sellers to prove control by breaking below what? Below the previous low. So we'll be waiting for price to form a new swing around this trend line, and then if and only if the sellers manage to break below the swing, we can say that now the sellers are taking over from a short-term perspective again and again, and then we can expect a bearish movement. And in this case, we'll be looking for buy setups to form around the 2K, just like we did previously around this area. Meanwhile, and until this happens, and of course, I'm not predicting that this will happen, it's just an idea that if price would form like this and break it downward, then we can say that the bears are taking over. And of course, it doesn't have to like follow this exact projection, it's just an idea. Price can still like form like this way and then breaks it downward, right? So we've got the idea, and we need the sellers to take over to know that the price is rejecting the 2.5. Meanwhile, until this happens, we are still overall bullish. However, for the buyers to take over, we need to see, as mentioned from daily, a big bullish candle from daily time frame closing or breaking above the 2.5. Then and only then the buyers would take control by breaking above the previous high, the double bottom neckline, and the 2.5k. In this case, the bulls will take over and will be looking for buy setups on the retest. That's it for Ethereum. Best of luck, and I'll see you on the next one.